My iPod battery died, and when I went to Apple to get a new battery, they said, buy a new iPod. This was when I first learned the term planned obsolescence.
We'll never forget the fact that when they first invented light bulbs, they could burn for 100 years. But the light bulb companies wanted to make more money, so they made them burn out every year or so. And I realized that we don't use incandescent bulbs anymore. We mostly use LED.
Thermostats from 1960 to 2018. Thermostats from 2018 to present.
Everything you own in 2025 is designed to break, and it's not an accident. That's not me being dramatic. It's the harsh reality of how products are being built today. From washing machines in your laundry room, to the phone in your pocket, to the car in your driveway, almost everything is engineered now with failure in mind. Washing machines used to last 20 years, now crumble after 5, thanks to cheap plastic parts manufacturers don't even make replacements for anymore. Electronics, disposable, tools made with soft Chinesium metals that bend the first time you use them. Even light bulbs, the very invention that lit up the modern world, were eventually redesigned to burn out faster, all to sell you more replacements. This isn't bad luck. It's called planned obsolescence, a strategy companies have perfected over the last century to keep you spending, upgrading, and replacing instead of owning things that last, all to make them more money. Today, I'm breaking down how deep this goes, why it's happening in 2025 more than ever, and what it means for your wallet. Now, if you guys have any stories about things you bought breaking earlier than you would have liked it to, let me know about it down in the comments section below. Otherwise, let's get right into today's episode.
Well, America, this is more proof of companies here that don't really care about you. All they care about is making a profit.
Sounds about
you see
right.
This Maytag washer here, we bought it back in 2017, so we've had it around, 7 years, 8 years, and it's got a 10-year limited parts warranty on it, on the drive motor and the wash basket. When I first got it, I'm thinking, yeah, it's a Maytag, it should last a while, right? You know, because it is made in America. Well, guess what? 7 years later, 8 years later, whatever, what's 1 year, right? Had to call a technician to come out. He ran the codes and took a good look at it. And the parts, the electronic parts that we need to repair this have not been manufactured for a few years now. So, looks like I'm out of luck. So, Maytag, sorry, you're not getting any more of my money. I'm going to go get myself a Speed Queen.
Yeah, the interesting thing is he said that it came with a 10-year limited parts warranty, which covered the drive motor and the basket. And those didn't fail. The things that failed were the electronics that told the drive motor and basket to do its job. That failed, and they no longer make the parts for that because they're on to the next one, and they didn't warranty that stuff. So you're kind of SOL, and now they force you to upgrade into a new product. I've heard this story time and times again with tons of different things. Now, I'm not a homeowner yet, although I will be soon. So I am asking you guys to let me know, what are some good appliances that I should get and ones that I should stay away from? Because apparently this is a pretty big deal. I've heard to stay far away from Samsung, and they should stick with making phones. But are there any other brands? I'm asking you homeowners out there. I currently rent, and all the appliances in my apartment have practically broken, and the apartment is brand new. That's the crazy part. It's been less than, I think we're going on 4 years, maybe 3.5, I'd say 4 to 4.5 years. And so far, the washing machine has broken. The dryer is making a horrendous sound. Our fridge at one point stopped dispensing water because there's some fuse or whatever, I don't know, some one-way lock or valve that broke, so we no longer got water. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of appliances that have broke, and things are just made so cheaply. The HVAC system outside that big AC thing has broken so many more times than I could even list to you. It's absolutely unbelievable, but it's all part of the plan. It's all a part of keeping people a consumer and getting you into the next thing. Anywho, I wanted to read a couple of the comments that you guys had left on that TikTok. There's a reason why every laundromat uses Speed Queen. Yeah, I didn't even know, I never heard of Speed Queen. I've heard of Whirlpool, and some of the other ones, but I'm really curious as to what products, what appliances should we stay away from as consumers, and what should we, purchase. I really want to know. When did companies ever care about people ever? Yeah, maybe several decades ago, before they became these massive Procter & Gamble, massive conglomerates that only care about increasing shareholders' profits, did they actually care about building a reputable thing? I think smaller companies and maybe mom and pop stores care about their customers more than these massive giants. Speed Queen is honestly the only washer dryer worth your money these days. Is that even expensive? I'm curious. Meanwhile, my grandma's 1970 Sears Kenmore dryer set still works like new. That's the irony here, is it's your grandparents' washer, dryer, dishwasher. Oh, that's another thing that breaks all the time. It's already rusting. How is it that a 2-year-old, 3-year-old dishwasher that barely gets used is rusting? Make that make sense. If the part is covered under that warranty, but they no longer manufacture it, that's not your fault, and also doesn't absolve them from the warranty obligation. Legal filings should proceed next. Yeah, who's got lawyers to file a lawsuit? I would then think they would find any reason to push you into their newest product. Oh, sorry, we no longer carry that part anymore, but we're willing to offer you a credit, or we're willing to upgrade you into our newest washer and dryer. And then most people will be like, oh, really? That's so cool. I'd love to get a new one. You buy a new one, boom, they got you on the hook. And now forever you're buying new parts, or now you're constantly replacing your washer dryer every 3, maybe 4 years.
This TV has something called planned obsolescence, which means it's built only to last a few scant years. On the other hand, this sweet buffet that I got for $0 on Marketplace is probably going to go to my grandchildren. Why? Because it's not made of particle board and weird glue that off-gasses.
Weird glue that off-gasses. That's hysterical. Legit, I think every furniture, I think every piece of furniture that I currently own in my apartment is made out of particle board that off-gasses, apparently.
And it's not junk. Junk. Everything is junk. This brand new fridge, junk. But my grandma's 1952 fridge, still working just fine. Brand new junk. Really old junk. Not junk.
Oh, sorry.
Keep your $150,000 BMWs. You know what I'm gonna drive around in? Darn tootin' a 1993 Nissan D21, and guess what? It's not junk. This stereo system is from my grandma's house. Yeah, it still works, and I listen to my records on it. You want to know why? Because it's not junk. I want to make a prediction. All these companies that have this planned obsolescence so that they can trick consumers into buying more, I think you're all going to go under. Because we see you, those stupid tricks that you're playing, and the way that you're ruining the planet.
We see them, but I don't think there's anything at our level that we can do to stop them. They have too much money, too much power, and too much of a monopoly over us. I'll give you a story. I have a friend, really likes electronics, as I do too. Lots of people do. Anyway, he purchased a Samsung refrigerator to match his other appliances a couple of years ago. Now they're offering them in different colors. You can get a blue refrigerator made out of glass, touchscreen, see-through, all the gadgets and gizmos. Well, it broke a couple of months ago, and he had a tech come out and look at it, and they were like, yeah, your pump broke, or whatever it is that keeps the refrigerator running. The tech said that the part needed to make the refrigerator operate correctly, like the motor or something, costs too much from Samsung, or Samsung doesn't sell it, whatever the reason is. And he's better off just getting a new refrigerator, which is what he did. But not to mention, they're thousands of dollars. They're not cheap, but to only last a couple of years is diabolical. You only need a fridge to do one thing, that is to keep your food cold and to keep your food frozen. That's it. You don't need a million gadgets and gizmos. You don't need to have software updates for your refrigerator. I'm sorry. The further you go into that, the further you are going to bury yourself, never get ahead, never achieve financial freedom, and be just draining your pockets out of money. There's no way you can get ahead doing that. I wanted to read a couple of the comments that you guys had left on other previous videos we have made on planned obsolescence, on subscription culture, things like that. If you haven't seen my subscription culture video, definitely highly recommend you check that one out, as well as we made one on you will own nothing and be broke forever. Definitely check that one out as well. Part of the problem is the lease generation of people. People just started buying cars to build credit history and get rid of them, some less than 2 years. Automotive companies then stopped with creating longevity. From 2006 on, it became a cutting cost game for engineers that work for these companies. Totally agree. They're not going to keep building things that people don't want to keep. That's true. Why would they do that? Also, with the change in economy, people can't afford anymore. It's come down to more than just planned obsolescence. It's become you will own nothing and be happy. Yeah. I totally agree. I think there's things we can add on to that. I don't know if people became a lease generation or if people were herded and forced into leasing cars, if that makes sense. I don't think many people realize what they're doing. I think, the big manufacturers convinces the dealerships to push leases out more. You don't have to pay for the expensive maintenance or when things break or go wrong. And then they'll offer leases at nowadays, people don't buy cars cash anymore. We've already discussed that. We've discussed how new cars are absolutely horrible. Check that video out if you haven't already. But the big issue now is people only look at their monthly payments. We're seeing monthly payments now. People are taking loans out for like 7+ years. Nobody buys cars anymore on finance because it's cheaper monthly to just lease the car. Like when your lease payment is cheaper than the finance payment, most people are going to choose the cheaper option. So I think it's the car industry that's pushing people into leases. So they're making disposable cars.
You make the machine to wear out much sooner than it needs to. So it has to be replaced sooner than it needs to. That may be a waste of resources, but it's profitable. The company that can get you to buy more because what it sold you didn't last as long as it might have is the successful profiteering company. Pretty soon, other companies who might have tried to produce the longer lasting machine discover that they can't compete. Mm-hmm. The company with planned obsolescence also has a little something new each time. Instead of a white refrigerator, how about one that's an avocado color? Or a stainless steel one? Or one that has a built-in radio? You get the picture? You produce in order to sell. That's the capitalist way. You don't produce so it lasts forever. That is not the way the system works. That's why we have fashion. That's why everything imaginable that's made finds the company making them advertising the new and better version of it. Maybe better, maybe new. The point is, sell more.
Honestly, guys, do I have to start my own company? Like a company that makes stuff to last nowadays? It's crazy. I might become a millionaire doing it that way. I have a funny story. A couple years ago, I bought a Shark vacuum. Thought it was cool. It was one of those that, detaches and you can vacuum while you hold the container, and you don't need bags. It's got a bucket that you could dump the junk out, and you got filters, yada, yada, yada. Anywho, I only used it a couple times. I mean, I do vacuum, once, twice a month. Maybe I'm calling myself out here. I don't have pets and I don't have kids, so my house is fairly clean. And I have a smaller vacuum and I mop in between. So it's not much I'm picking up on. Anywho, don't judge me for my cleanliness and cleaning habits, all right? Because I know some of you are in the comments now. Just after using it several times, it no longer was able to vacuum. Like it wouldn't spin. It had suction, but it wouldn't spin the things at the bottom. The belt that drives it, the rubber belt, I guess the teeth fell off, broke, or whatever it was. Of course, I'm out of warranty, and there was no replacements. I searched far and wide, and I could not find a belt to fix it, let alone they didn't make the vacuum for me to work on. it was so difficult to even try to take the thing apart. We had security bits, security screws, different types of screws. It's all hidden. It was not easy. It was not user-friendly. Had to get another vacuum. So far, it's been okay. But this is the way things are going. They're meant to break, and they make it harder for you to fix, harder for you to find the parts for. It was not easy. You can't just Google it and find the part and boom, bought it, replace it. No. They make it very difficult to replace and work on yourself and make it easier, cheaper, and more convenient to just go buy another one. Planned obsolescence makes me so angry. HVACs, fridges, washers, dryers, cars, lawnmowers, everything. My older neighbor would help us fix our lawnmower, and we would always have to comment on how whatever part is made of cheap plastic and doesn't last long. Every time we get our HVAC maintenance, the technician would say that we need to replace it every 5 years because of the salt water in the air from living by the beach. Before it was 10 years, even though our first unit lasted 20 years. Unreal.
A hammer from 60 years ago, compared to the hammers produced this year, which are of better quality. They withstand the powerful pressure of the hydraulic press. First of all, let's compare the hammers of the two periods. Look at them. It seems that modern hammers are tougher. Find a stone. Let's test it. The two hammers do not make the same sound. Let's start the experiment. First up is a hammer from the 60s. The hydraulic press descends slowly. The hammer has withstood the pressure of 100 tons.
Wow.
The hydraulic press has reached its limit. It can't be pressed any further. The surface of the hammer is intact. There is no deformation at all. Next up is the newest hammer.
It looks like it's made out of cheese.
As the hydraulic press descends, the surface begins to deform. The hydraulic
Unreal.
press only uses 50 tons of pressure. That's half of what we had before. Side view. The hammer is severely deformed. It's badly damaged under constant pressure. Paint comes off at the touch of a button. The difference between the two comparisons is obvious.
I got another story for you. A couple months ago, I was trying to change the wheel bearing on my fiance's Mazda 3, 2010 Mazda 3. And I purchased some cold chisels for my mechanics out there from Harbor Freight. I had to remove the snap ring in order to pull the wheel bearing out. And I was hitting the cold chisel with a hammer, and I rounded the edge of the cold chisel, like as if it was made of Play-Doh. It was softer than the snap ring I was trying to, get loose to pull out. I then had to go spend even more money and purchase Mayhew cold chisels made in America, and it did the job in a couple of seconds. So it really tells you, you shouldn't always go by made in America as better quality. More than likely it is, but you still have to do your own research, as we saw from that dude that bought his made in America washing machine. But the way lots of products are going is there's no more craftsmanship. They are pumping them out on assembly lines made with cheap Chinesium. And this goes back again to buy it nice or buy it twice. I have slowly learned being cheap doesn't always make you the most money. It took me quite a long time to figure that out. I was very cheap in college, and as I've gotten older, I've realized that I need to become a little more frugal, which means it's okay to spend more money up front if it's going to get the job done and last a longer period of time. I disagree with the planned obsolescence. If that were the case, these companies would be pushing customers away to other brands. It's 100% cost cutting, using bad materials, just trying to increase profit and speed up production. This is true, but it's not always speeding up production. Why would they use bad materials and why would they cut costs? Yes, it's to increase profit, but in doing so, it is with planned obsolescence. You can't push someone to another company if a majority of the companies are also doing ways of planned obsolescence. But I agree. And the problem is most people don't realize this. There's a select few of us, you guys that watch this channel, that are on the same wavelength as me. The overwhelming majority of people are just hyper consumers and go through day-to-day lives blinded by what is happening to them. That things have been set up to bleed their pockets dry of all the money they have, to take your bonus from you when you get a raise at work.
So I saw this tweet and it made me think. The guy on the right recreated Billy Crystal's look on the left 20 years later. Look at the difference in sweaters. And it made me think of planned obsolescence. This is the centennial bulb. It's been burning since 1901 in a firehouse in California. Planned obsolescence is the conspiracy that companies are intentionally building electronics, appliances to kind of fail, because if a light bulb is going to last 100 years, the light bulb company will make no money. So it made me think, look at the difference between the two sweaters. Do you think the same thing is happening in fashion and the material of clothing and the effort that is going into the construction of clothing? With the essential non-ending continuous cycle of fast fashion revolving, why is there a need to make quality clothing anymore? Do you think companies are making less quality clothes for the same or higher cost? What do you think?
It's interesting. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, we'll never know. They'll never admit to it, even if they were. But the outcome is still the same. Even them using cheaper products makes their stuff not last long. It's gotten to the point now where my clothes that I'm purchasing, I try to stick with 100% cotton, but it's becoming harder and harder and harder to find that, as lots of, companies are throwing polyester into the mix, which is plastic. It is straight plastic. I mean, we're taking water bottles and turning them into shirts. I guess it's okay, but everything now is becoming cheap plastic. And the problem is, it just falls apart. I mean, I'm just going a couple washes with some of my shirts now, and they got holes through them. Sheets are getting holes through them. They're made with the thinnest of thinnest materials. I've even purchased bath towels from Amazon. And after one wash, when you take like the lint out of the dryer, it's like I have another towel. They are falling apart. It is absolutely insane the way clothing is going. And that's not even talking about fast fashion, of how things are meant to constantly keep you in a consumeristic cycle so these companies can constantly make money. They need to show that they are making record profits, or show that they are making more money so that their shareholders can be satisfied. Kitchen appliances with wheels. Cheap kitchen appliances. Planned obsolescence and artificial self-created problems that conveniently have solutions offered for money. Yeah, it's like they make the problem and then sell you the solution. Can't wait for software-gated nonsense. Oh, that's already here. That is already here. Want to drive more than 250 miles a month? You have to buy the basic subscription for $100 to get up to 1,000 miles a month. Want more? Oh, we can offer you the premium subscription, $1,000 for 10,000 miles a month. The fuel tank restricted to 5 gallons. To unlock the rest, you have to, you guessed it, buy a subscription. For additional 5 gallons, you got to get the whole tank. You bought the performance trim with the high power drivetrain. Well, without a subscription, we will only let you use 100 horsepower and give you 300. $9.99 will unlock the full potential. Have fun. We are heading there. They made an episode of Black Mirror practically about that. It was somebody who was sick, got this like life-saving medicine, and in order for it to work, she had to pay tons of money. We are so close to that. We'll see where we are in 10 years. We'll rewatch this video.
I will never forget the fact that when they first invented light bulbs, they could burn for 100 years. But the light bulb companies wanted to make more money, so they made them burn out every year or so. And I realized that we don't use incandescent bulbs anymore. We mostly use LED.
So that was just a lie. Not like a stretching of truth, not like a little white lie, like just a plain fucking lie. We're talking about light bulbs.
She's not lying, though. The centennial light bulb has been burning since 1901. And they did actually come together to make light bulbs last less time. 1924, the Phoebus cartel. They set up an agreement to say that light bulbs would last less time so they could make more money. It's literally the start of planned obsolescence. Something which is still going on today with like vehicles and stuff, like they expected to last 10 years. Mobile phones, Apple, planned obsolescence, those updates which slow down the phones and made you have to fucking upgrade. Planned obsolescence. That's from the Phoebus cartel. That's from the light bulb companies. Stop lying, Josh. Come on. Do some research. It's an understood science. Yes, the really bright ones don't last as long, but they did come together to make them last less time. All of the bulbs are shit back when they made them in 1901, but that centennial light bulb has been burning for 100 years. Well, 123 and a bit years, coming up to 124. Come on.
You heard what he said about Apple creating those software updates that slowed down older phones that force you to upgrade? Let's talk about that. I found a Reddit forum here. Why is planned obsolescence still legal? It's infuriating how companies deliberately make products that break down or become unusable after a few years. phones, appliances, cars, they're all designed to force you to upgrade. It's wasteful, it's bad for the environment, and it screws over customers. When will this nonsense stop? So we just wanted to scroll through and read a couple of the comments that people were talking about in here. Planned obsolescence is prohibitively murky to tackle. Deliberate unrepairability, on the other hand, is much easier. You can actively deny people the ability to purchase replacement parts or design it so only you can fix things. Naughty box you go. Interesting. It's extremely difficult to prove. A lot of people don't seem to understand that some things have to have a finite lifespan by definition. So someone replied to that comment, granted, I haven't really looked into what companies are saying internally, but as an engineer, I have a hard time believing that planned obsolescence is an actual concrete goal or priority of the engineers that develop this stuff. One example that comes to mind is how a few years ago, Apple got flack for intentionally slowing down old iPhone models. Looking into it, though, turns out they slowed them down because the software and apps nowadays require a certain threshold of performance that only newer models can provide. That left unchecked were causing older models to overheat. Hence, Apple slowed them down. That seems reasonable to me. That's an interesting point. Two, you keep upgrading the apps on your older phone, but the software on the phone cannot handle it, or the older technology of that phone can't handle it. So it was causing phones to overheat, batteries to blow up. So they slowed the phone down. I can see that. As an engineer in the trenches for decades now, I can say that planned obsolescence has never been part of the discussion or an edict from up high. What has been part of the discussion, though, is constant search for optimization, lighter and cheaper materials, and pushing the boundary of the analogy that the best race car starts falling apart immediately after crossing the finish line. Anything more is just added weight and cost. Interesting. And what happens when you focus on reducing weight and cost? The sell price goes down, which is what consumers love. But long-term reliability goes down as products can no longer compensate for user error and use far beyond the product's lifespan. So if anything, I would say consumers voting with their wallets to have cheaper products has a byproduct driven the very same products to last shorter amounts of time. And I've heard that before too, like after people track like F1 cars, they completely disassemble and rebuild the engine after for the next event, stuff like that. Imagine doing that on your car that you currently own. That'd be crazy. But if you want it to provide what it is for what it is meant for in that moment, then you're going to get the results afterwards. So it's like, did they intentionally do it or is it unintentional? But it's a convenient, unintentional byproduct, if you ask me, that only benefits, the big industry, the big companies. And then they make it harder to work on. So very interesting.
Did you know that the whole planned obsolescence thing started as a conspiracy?
Started as, but then proven true?
Prior to 1924, the average life of an incandescent light bulb was 2,500 hours. In December of 1924, the biggest light bulb manufacturers from around the world got together. At Lake Geneva in Switzerland and hatched a secret plan to increase their sales by bringing the average lifespan of the light bulb down to 1,000 hours instead of 2,500.
Oh my gosh, they did it on purpose.
The group later became known as the Phoebus Cartel. They created a monopoly on the light bulb marketplace, saw a 25% boost in profit over the first few years, and they disbanded in 1939 with the outbreak of World War II. And their strategy later came out in court when the U.S. government came after General Electric on antitrust charges.
Now, I've done a lot of research, and the one thing that I found that has still lasted a really long time is clicking that subscribe button. Believe it or not, clicking that subscribe button is completely free, doesn't cost a dime, and it will last a lifetime. Not only that, but it lets me know that you guys like to see videos like this and that I should keep creating videos like this. So if it's not too much to ask, just give it a quick tap down below.
Thermostats from 1960 to 2018. Thermostats from 2018 to present.
Wow. All plastic.
My iPod battery died, and when I went to Apple to get a new battery, they said, buy a new iPod. That seemed ridiculous, so my brother Van and I made a video about it, and it caused a bit of a stir.
Thank you both very much.
This was when I first learned the term planned obsolescence. A business strategy where products are designed to break down or become obsolete quickly so that customers are encouraged to buy new products. There's a cynical take on this, which is that big money-hungry corporations go out of their way to make their products fail, so customers have to buy more and more.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, going back to the point, whether intentional or unintentional, I don't know. But what we do know for certain is the there is a prerogative to cost cut products, to make products cheaper. Now, we don't know if that's making it cheaper for the consumer to purchase, but what it does do, if we're selling it for this price and we can lower the cost to manufacture, well, we get to keep the difference. So obviously our goal as engineers is to spread that gap so we make more money. We either have to raise prices or we have to, make costs cheaper so that we can satisfy our shareholders.
Okay, these are some things I think don't need to be modernized. For one, the remote control. This looks like a nightmare. When you sit down on the TV remote and the channel changes, I feel like this would be that problem, but 100 times worse. Next, we have the car dashboard.
Yeah.
I do not understand how this is safe. Because how did we go from being obsessed with don't text and drive, don't be on the screen, don't do this while you're driving, to let's put a massive screen in the car. Okay, next we have the fridge. Okay, my biggest issue with this one is how it doesn't last. Like, back in the day, you could buy a fridge and it would last like 30 years or something. Now, it's like 7 years and it has a massive screen. Like, don't put effort into this. Just make the fridge a good fridge.
That's what I'm saying.
Elevator buttons. I can't even believe this is a real thing. Like, touch screens in an elevator, the way that would be just so horrendous to deal with if you were blind or visually impaired, first of all, but also the fact that I just wouldn't trust this. Like, I would not trust this to get me to where I need to go. I would think it would break down. Okay, registers. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. These things suck for just so many reasons. And lastly, streaming platforms. The thing about streaming platforms is they were originally intended to be cheaper than cable, but now it's like you have to buy like 3 or 4 streaming platforms just to be like up to date with all the shows that are coming out, Like, I'm about to crawl up onto the roof and put one of those dishes back up there because this is ridiculous. Honestly, my biggest issue with all of this stuff is just how it doesn't last, and we're excusing poor craftsmanship for a touchscreen or some modern feature. I would so much rather buy something and it last 2 decades and not have a touchscreen than buy something with a touchscreen and it only lasts 4 years.
Another story for you. My parents are in the market for a new stove, a gas stove. They cracked the glass, the black glass on it. It still works totally fine, but there's a big crack going down it. They've gotten quotes to get that replaced, and it costs way too much, way more than if they just purchased another stove. Problem is, they don't make stoves anymore. They said they can't find one that doesn't have Wi-Fi, touchscreen, and Bluetooth built into it that's affordable. So they're kind of stuck on that. And I totally agree with the way cars, what is people's fascination with touchscreens? The reason companies want to integrate touchscreens into things is so that they can integrate software into things, which means they can charge you for updates and apps and put advertisements on your refrigerator. And then to spy on you, collect as much possible data as they can from your habits, and then obviously, sell that data, because that's what you're agreeing to when you buy, their toilet, how many times you flush every day if you buy a Bluetooth one, or how many times you turn your refrigerator on or open the door. They sell all this data. You are the product here. It's a pain in the butt. I miss buttons. I do too. I love cars with buttons. I'm going to buy like an old Toyota Avalon or something. If I got ads on my TV remote, I'd go feral. Imagine they don't let you change the channel until you watch an unskippable 30-second ad. That's another thing, to put ads on things. And you better believe they will put ads on all of those screens. Oh, sorry, you were at a red light. Let's put and the car will know that. Let's put an advertisement on the screen. Restaurant menus that are QR codes. Please let me use paper. I don't want to look at my phone. Valid. Moving away from tactile buttons makes things completely inaccessible to sight-impaired people. Why are we doing this? I didn't even think of that. Couldn't agree with dashboards enough. That's literally an iPad.
Look at this gem. 2019 Ford EcoSport 1-liter turbo, because it's a fucking turtle. They don't believe in timing chains no more now.
We're going backwards.
You got the oil pump driven by a belt. Your whole timing is driven by a belt, but that's okay. But they soak the fucker in oil. And look at the tensioner and idler wheel. It's just
look at how cheapy
shit riding in oil. I mean, dude, this is the most Mickey's Mouse cheapest bullshit, made to fail fucking junk I've ever seen. What happened to a timing chain? Life of the motor? No. This would mean you got to pull this whole part to put a new piece of rubber in oil. It's
Wow.
not Kevlar. It's something made in China with Ford's name on it. And the bottom one's even a bigger joke. The oil pump drive. You see they got gears down there? But the gears are driven by a piece of rubber. How fucking smart is that? What kind of fucking shit was these guys smoking? I mean, dude, I'm amazed. I'm glad I'm almost done doing this kind of shit because, dude, I'm making too much money. This is crazy. I need a wheelbarrow to take it away. I love the way these fucking guys do this shit. That's made to
Right.
last about an hour. Your oil pump drive belt soaked in oil. Let's say you let your car set for a year. You have to change all this shit.
Facts.
As soon as you crank it up, it's all going to break.
Yep.
Oil pump driven by rubber. Timing and cams driven by rubber. Soaked in oil. How fucking awesome is that? Pretty little car. I mean, if you like fucking turds, you have to push when they quit. Notice the dust on the window. You know what that means. Unbelievable. 1 liter turbo. Wow. One good strong backfire and that belt burns off, slips off the teeth. Isn't that neat? Something happens. Unreal. Timing decides to advance really, really far.
You're done.
Oh, fucking love it. Love it, love it, love it. Pretty car, 74,000 miles on it.
And I bet you it's an interference engine, so when that belt does go, the pistons are going to hit the valves and boom. Now your little $3,000 repair is going to cost you a $10,000 engine because that's how they designed it. They could have designed it as a non-interference. No. Kudos to the engineering behind that. Absolutely insane. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you liked this episode on planned obsolescence. Let me know if you've noticed any of this stuff with recent purchases or things you've purchased in the past down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, definitely make sure to smash the like button, turn on post notifications, subscribe. And if you haven't seen that you're meant to own nothing and be happy, then definitely make sure to check that video out right after this. Peace.